The movie unfolds in the somber, Gothic winter town of Riverton, as familiar eerie music sets the stage, foreshadowing the Dietz family's imminent re-immersion into supernatural turmoil. Lydia Dietz, once a Gothic teenager, is now middle-aged and a moderately famous paranormal investigator on television, hosting a talk show called Haunted Houses. However, the spotlight fails to conceal Lydia's inner pain. Her husband Richard, also father to their daughter Astrid, tragically perished during an expedition in the remote Amazon, his death attributed to a shark attack. This sudden loss profoundly impacts Lydia and Astrid, further straining their already somewhat distant mother-daughter relationship. Astrid, in the throes of rebellious adolescence, scorns her mother's ghost-hunting career, dismissing it as mere sensationalist performance, disbelieving any genuine psychic abilities. Communication between mother and daughter is strained, their hearts drifting further apart. During a live recording of Haunted Houses, as Lydia passionately recounts a chilling ghost story, conjuring a spooky atmosphere for dramatic effect, her gaze sweeps across the audience and abruptly freezes. In the corner of the audience, a familiar figure grins grotesquely at her, a pale face, disheveled hair, none other than Beetlejuice. The bioexorcist, who nearly became her stepfather over 30 years ago, bringing endless trouble to her and her family. Is Beetlejuice's unexpected appearance a hallucination of Lydia's, or an ominous omen? The Dietz family's tranquil life is once again overshadowed by darkness. Funeral and new crisis. In the days that follow, a lingering gloom envelopes the Dietz mansion. Lydia's stepmother, Delia, an eccentric artist, brings fresh sorrow to the family. Charles Dietz has also passed away, his cause of death also attributed to a shark attack. Losing both her husband and father in quick succession pushes Lydia to the brink of despair. Delia busies herself with Charles's funeral arrangements, while comforting the grief-stricken Lydia. To bid farewell to Charles, Lydia, accompanied by Astrid and Delia, drives back to the old family home in Winter River, Connecticut. This old house, once the Dietz family residence, also bore witness to Lydia's harrowing past with Beetlejuice. Returning to this place evokes complex emotions in Lydia, grief for her father, and dread of the past. Charles's funeral service is held with solemnity in the Winter River Church. Friends and family gather to pay their last respects to the departed patriarch. After the funeral, during the somber wake, Lydia's boyfriend Rory, a handsome television producer, proposes marriage again. Deeply in love with Lydia, Rory hopes marriage will heal her inner wounds and allow her to start anew. Perhaps moved by Rory's sincerity, or driven by a deep-seated longing for stability, the emotionally exhausted Lydia surprisingly accepts Rory's proposal at the funeral. Yet, joy is absent from Lydia's face, her eyes betray hesitation and unease, as if foreseeing that this marriage will not bring true happiness. Amidst the funeral's commotion and sorrow, Astrid wanders alone in the town cemetery. She feels isolated, lost, and out of sync with the world around her. It is then that Jeremy Fraser, a local boy, approaches her. Jeremy, sunny and outgoing, warm and talkative, brings a ray of light into Astrid's gloom. Jeremy invites Astrid to the town's upcoming festival celebration, and Astrid, as if in a trance, agrees. She yearns to escape the oppressive family atmosphere, to experience the beauty and romance of adolescence. Little does Astrid know, Jeremy's true identity, and his real motives for approaching her, conceal immense danger. Netherworld conspiracy and ex-wife's revenge. Meanwhile, in the Netherworld, beyond the reach of the living, Beetlejuice continues his absurd existence. He persists in managing the Netherworld call center, directing a staff of shrunken heads, providing various, thoughtful, services to newly deceased souls. Despite being in the afterlife, Beetlejuice's obsession with Lydia remains undiminished. Lydia's image constantly haunts his mind, leaving him restless and sleepless. Just as Beetlejuice is roaring at his shrunken head employees, complaining about the heavy and tedious workload, an uninvited guest arrives in his office. It is Wolf Jackson, a Netherworld detective, a ghost with an old-school detective vibe, dressed in a vintage trench coat and fedora. Wolf brings Beetlejuice shocking news: his ex-wife, Dolores Levon, the mysterious and dangerous mystic, has resurrected. Even more terrifying, Dolores has become stronger and more deranged in her revival, unleashing carnage in the Netherworld, frantically consuming the energy of other souls, with Beetlejuice as her ultimate target. Beetlejuice is shocked and terrified by this news. His feud with Dolores dates back to the Black Death centuries ago. Back then, Beetlejuice was not yet the bioexorcist, just an ordinary mortal. He and Dolores met in plague-ridden Italy and quickly fell in love. However, Dolores was a woman who would stop at nothing to pursue immortality. On their wedding night, she secretly poisoned Beetlejuice's wine, attempting to absorb his life force through an ancient ritual to achieve eternal life. Though poisoned, Beetlejuice did not die immediately. In his dying breath, he mustered his last strength and killed Dolores in return. Wolf informs Beetlejuice that Dolores, after resurrection, not only possesses more potent magic but has also become more insane and bloodthirsty. She is using a vile spell called soul-sucking to devour the souls of other ghosts, enhancing her power and tracking Beetlejuice's whereabouts. Dolores's resurrection undoubtedly poses a grave threat to Beetlejuice, and portends a bloody storm brewing in the Netherworld. Netherworld temptation and deadly truth. Back in the human world, Astrid and Jeremy's relationship blossoms rapidly. However, as their relationship deepens, Astrid gradually senses that Jeremy is concealing secrets. Astrid is shocked and terrified, realizing she has fallen for a ghost. Jeremy does not deny his identity, confessing to Astrid that he is a ghost wandering the human realm, unable to cross over to the Netherworld for reasons unknown. Jeremy further reveals to Astrid that he has been seeking a way to be reborn, and Astrid's arrival has given him hope. Jeremy tempts Astrid, inviting her to journey to the Netherworld with him to assist in his rebirth ritual. In return, Jeremy promises to help Astrid see her deceased father Richard's soul, reuniting father and daughter. For Astrid, longing to see her father, Jeremy's promise is immensely alluring. Seduced by Jeremy's sweet words, she decides to risk a trip to the Netherworld, seeking a reunion with her father. Meanwhile, Lydia is not entirely consumed by grief and wedding preparations. She remains uneasy about her daughter Astrid's relationship with Jeremy. Driven by maternal instinct, Lydia secretly begins investigating Jeremy's true identity. She seeks out Jane Butterfield, a local real estate agent, to inquire about Jeremy Fraser. Jane, a gossip-loving middle-aged woman, is well-versed in all the happenings of Winter River. Under Lydia's questioning, Jane reveals a horrifying secret: Jeremy Fraser is not a sunny young man, but a murderer with a dark past. 23 years prior, Jeremy brutally murdered his parents for unknown reasons. When police arrived to arrest him, Jeremy committed suicide out of guilt, ending his young life. Lydia is devastated by this revelation. She realizes her daughter Astrid is involved with a dangerous ghost, and is likely caught in a terrifying conspiracy. To protect her daughter, Lydia decides to act. She thinks of Beetlejuice, the unreliable but powerful bioexorcist with netherworld magic. In desperation, Lydia reluctantly faces the mirror once more and utters the spell to summon Beetlejuice's name: Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice!
Netherworld rescue and reunion on Titan. Beetlejuice is summoned to the human world by Lydia again. He remains as self-absorbed and comical as ever, but this time, Lydia has no time for his antics. She gets straight to the point, telling Beetlejuice that her daughter Astrid has been deceived by an evil ghost and is about to be taken to the Netherworld, pleading for Beetlejuice's help. Upon hearing the word Netherworld, Beetlejuice perks up immediately. He agrees to help Lydia rescue Astrid, but in exchange, Lydia must marry him. For her daughter's safety, Lydia is forced to enter into an unequal marriage pact with Beetlejuice once again. Beetlejuice, satisfied, tears open the veil between life and death, opening a gateway to the Netherworld. Lydia follows Beetlejuice closely, embarking on a perilous Netherworld rescue mission fraught with unknowns and dangers. Upon entering the Netherworld, Lydia finds it vastly different from her imagined hellish landscape. The Netherworld is not a sea of fire, but a bureaucratic world filled with red tape and absurd rules. Various ghosts wander aimlessly, like zombies, and the nonsensical rules and regulations are suffocating. To navigate the Netherworld smoothly and evade Dolores's pursuit, Beetlejuice cunningly disguises himself as Bob, his chief employee. He instructs Lydia to hide while he, as Bob, operates near the Netherworld police station, attempting to divert the Netherworld guards' attention. However, Beetlejuice's ruse is quickly exposed by Netherworld detective Wolf Jackson. Wolf had long been suspicious of Beetlejuice's behavior and keenly sensed Beetlejuice's secret of illegally bringing a living person into the afterlife, immediately launching a manhunt. Dolores attacks Bob without hesitation. Poor Bob, the disguised Beetlejuice, is no match for Dolores and is instantly drained of his soul, becoming an empty husk. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Netherworld, Jeremy is leading Astrid through the labyrinthine Netherworld bureaucracy. He pretends to be taking Astrid to see her father, but his real intention is to quickly get Astrid to the Soul Train station to complete his rebirth ritual. She is forcibly put on the Soul Train, a train bound for the great beyond, where souls vanish forever, with no possibility of reincarnation. Just as the soul train is about to depart and Astrid is about to be sent into oblivion, Lydia arrives just in time. Mother and daughter embrace tightly, their hearts overflowing with relief and joy after surviving the ordeal. Beetlejuice also arrives in time, ensuring he receives his just punishment. To escape the Netherworld guards and Dolores's pursuit, Lydia, Astrid, and are forced to flee the Netherworld through a portal. However, the portal malfunctions, teleporting them to an unexpected location, Titan, Saturn's moon. Just as Lydia and Astrid are about to be attacked by sandworms, a familiar figure descends from the sky, shielding them. It is Richard Dietz, Lydia's deceased husband, Astrid's father. Richard tells Lydia and Astrid that he has been watching over them from another realm, guiding them to find their way back to the human world. Wedding farce and final banishment. Upon returning to the human world, the Dietz mansion is once again shrouded in sorrow. Delia unexpectedly passes away during the ceremony. She is bitten by seemingly harmless snakes. Delia inexplicably dies. Delia's soul also arrives in the Netherworld. Unable to accept her death, and unwilling to part with her longing for Charles, Delia summons Beetlejuice again, requesting his help to find Charles's soul and reunite with him in the afterlife.